And the dashboard, by the way, means we're on the last step here of installing the plugins. In WordPress, what we can see on the dashboard is first of all that we're in basic mode. So you see this show advanced options is set to no. It means we're showing just what's necessary to run a good membership site, and then the advanced options take it to the next level. A couple things on your dashboard, it tells you the app you're synced to, but you can also resynchronize, and that's useful if you've been changing your custom fields or have added or deleted custom fields, that is. There's some quick links to things like our documentation and videos where you can submit a support ticket. You can also purchase Memberium Premium support, which is where we walk you through and train or build whatever it is that you need. And you can license another site. And then below that are some metrics. And this is more of an FYI than something really functional, but it'll pull some things from WordPress like your number of users, your number of membership levels from Memberium, your pages and posts from WordPress, some of the data it's synced from Infusionsoft, and then some of the history data like the API log entries. And that by default is off. You can go into, I believe it's the i2 SDK settings, and turn that on if you'd like. So yeah, right there, API log you can turn on, as well as I should point out Infusion Web Analytics, which is the same as copying and pasting that script onto your site. So the reason it's off by default is a lot of people already have done that or have a plugin doing that. Back to the main dashboard though, that's really it. You don't really need to worry about these most of the time. If there's a reason to click those, we'll usually tell you, or we'll go in and do it ourselves if we're helping. Other than that, let's go to the basic options. So again, that was the dashboard. The basic options are some of the really basic settings, like for example, what's the username field people are logging in with? Is it their email address? Is it the actual Infusion username field? Or you can make any custom field you want be the username as well. Same thing for the password. So by default we set it to password, but you can choose your own custom field for that. One or two of the considerations are that if you have a lot of sites, let's say, and they were all sharing one Infusion application, you might want to always use the same fields so that if they change their password on one, it changes on all the others. Now, that's if they're going to expect that. If all the different sites are different brands, I've also seen people use custom fields for every single different site. And that way, if they changed on one, it doesn't change on the others, and they maintain kind of separate identities and experiences. Most of the site restrictions are the way they are by default on purpose. This one that says yes, for example, this is to disable RSS feeds. And the concept here is this is a membership site. We're here to protect content. RSS feeds kind of broadcast your content out. So by default, we turn those off. If you have a reason to have them on, then go for it. But just as an FYI, that's why that one's a little bit different. Other than that, we try to make it so that when you install the plugin, it's not going to mess anything up. It kind of goes with the defaults that most customers are using and would want, and also the least intrusive. We don't want to interrupt a current user experience if you're installing this on an existing site. Under page restrictions, what this really means is when you've protected a page and someone doesn't have access, what happens? Are they redirected away? Do you hide the page completely if they don't have access, meaning the user would get a 404 error as if the page doesn't exist? Or should you show an excerpt, which is kind of like a teaser? And we'll go into more of that on the pages, but you can set some of the defaults right there. Below that with security, we don't require membership, meaning any WordPress user with a username and password is going to be able to log in. If you hit yes, it means they're going to also have to have an Infusionsoft record that has a membership tag. So when it says require membership, it says require an Infusionsoft contact with an active membership, meaning membership tag. And we're about to dive into memberships, but allow auto login. That's this little link here. You can paste that into an email and your users could click that to auto log into the site. By default, we do it as yes because it's kind of fun and easy to use, and some people even have free memberships where they like it. I will just mention that if you have a lot of sensitive stuff in your membership site, you might want to set that to no. We do use an auth key, so we try to protect this a little bit. You can change the auth keys if something happens, but the whole idea behind auto login is they can click and go right in, which is convenient, but if they don't understand what that link does, and let's say that they have payment information in the membership site, or their one-click upsells, which they can automatically buy, and they forwarded the email to their friend, and their friend goes in and buys that one-click upsell on their behalf, that's not ideal. So if you're using the auto login link, use it primarily for stuff that's harmless. And if you do want to use it for something, because you can use it for billing automation and things like that, and sometimes it's convenient that they can click and go right and update their credit card, but you make it really obvious in that email that, hey, do not forward this, this contains a link to your billing information. And again, if you want to secure that, just go ahead and hit no, and no one will be able to auto log in. The other things down here, the update contact and the password generator example, these are not meant to be used in an email template, but these are actually for HTTP posts inside of Infusionsoft, meaning as part of a campaign or part of an action set. And the update contact means that we'll go ahead and push from Infusionsoft down to the WordPress membership site the new contact details if something changes, like let's say they bought something and we need to notify the membership site of that. Now, the person's record gets updated every time they log in anyways, but if they were already logged in and bought something and you wanted to push the update to WordPress while they're still logged in, this is how you would do it. So a really good example obviously is a one-click upsell on the membership site, or they update their credit card info on the membership site and you want to push back an update saying, oh, this is updated. You would do something like that. And at the bottom is probably the most used function of all three, and that's the password generator. Running this as part of a campaign or an action set just basically creates a password, and you can see by default we're saying overwrite equals no. So if they already had a password, let's say they're moving from another membership site or from Customer Hub or whatever, and they've already got passwords, we could still run this and it will help the people who don't, but anyone who does, it's not going to mess them up. Add user means should we add the user record to WordPress? And a lot of times you want that as a yes. For example, if you have an existing membership site where the user record needs to exist for other plugins to be able to use that data, then obviously yes is the way to go, and we do that by default. There's a few rare cases where you might say no. And that's pretty much it. Again, you don't actually have to change anything, but I thought I'd take you through some of those things. Go ahead to the memberships and we'll set those up and keep going.